how you doing, man?
His lameness is our candy.
I see. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're talking about a very
I don't really
niche
Yeah.
episode of Rick and Morty this week, and it is season 5, episode 5, and it's called Amortycan Grickfitti, which
Yes.
Lewis has just told me is a riff on American Graffiti, which is a film.
Yeah, which appears to, I've googled Amortycan Grickfitti. There's a Screen Rant video. What the title Amortycan Grickfitti means and why it's perfect.
Oh well.
Oh,
I mean,
George Lucas has done some stuff.
We could have watched
The
that.
1973 film American Graffiti.
Well, there you go.
Turns out it's actually just an article.
Yeah. Well, we could have read it and ripped off their ideas, but, you know, maybe next time.
Yeah. As if.
Yeah. This episode was written by Anne Lane, and it was directed by Kyung-gi Kim, and is starring Justin Roiland, Sarah Chalk, Spencer Grammer, and Chris Parnell. So, yeah. Do you have an opening statement?
I do. Is this episode about hedonism? Maybe. I can't really tell. It's becoming harder and harder to tell with Rick and Morty, where the hidden meaning starts is what I'm trying to say. It's just really bizarre, and I don't quite get it. Have you got an opening statement?
Yeah. A fun episode where everyone in the Smith family is being used by crueler people, and it sort of feels like an episode of Family Guy in that respect. You know, normally the Smith family are like in control of things, or at least Rick is, but it's just like it did feel like a bit like a Family Guy episode this time.
Yeah, it's I have to say, so far I'm enjoying season 5 less than previous seasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't know whether it's going downhill or whether I'm just a dick, but like I'm just not enjoying it so much.
No, definitely.
Yeah, there's loads of things in it that are just sort of
strange.
There's nonsense for the sake of sort of like a chaotic nihilism type thing, but there's also nonsense for the sake of nonsense, which I just don't quite get. Like the Transformers and stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, great. It's a car that wants to sleep with the other car, but on the same level, it was just a bit weird.
Yeah. Will I read out the caption before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Yeah, go on then.
Adults are gone tonight, brah. Grab the keys. So,
I see.
So I mean, you know, you get a good, understanding of what happens in this episode from that. So that's
You do.
You know, very gratifying. I will say I love Rick's car. Like,
I do enjoy Rick's car. Yeah.
You know, the thing with Rick and Morty is that great sort of concepts are used sparingly. Like, we haven't sort of spoken to Rick's car since season 2, and how she gets like a comeback is quite, you know, nice. It's like she's like a psycho version of like the TARDIS, you know. Like, if the TARDIS could talk and was like a psychopath, it would be Rick's car, you know.
True.
Darius has just asked, did Loki what did he ask? He said,
did Loki grab the best writer from Rick and Morty? One of the Loki writers is I think it might be the Loki writer. I barely pay attention to things.
Yeah.
But I think because they're writing Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as well.
and
I can't remember their name, but which, you know, it ties in with Loki and all the rest of it. But yeah, they were originally from Rick and Morty. I don't know what that means, because Loki isn't very Rick and Morty, and Rick and Morty isn't very Loki.
Well, I don't know. I've got some takes on that would sort of parallel them together.
Oh, spicy takes.
But we'll get to
I've got
that.
a quick, confususing question. So Rick has only just now seen Jurassic Park for the first time.
Yeah, which is like he's seen obscure 1980s film Highlander with Sean Connery, but he hasn't seen fucking Jurassic Park. Like, what?
But beyond that, there was what's that? Where they made a theme park that was clearly Jurassic
Yeah!
Park, but they made it within a homeless guy. So is that not? So he genuinely thought that was a novel idea, and he watched Jurassic Park, and he was like, "Oh fuck!"
Anatomy Park.
That was the one, yeah.
But bearing in mind that could have been another Rick from another dimension.
True. It could have been another Rick from another. I hope it's not, but I have seen a theory that this season's Rick and Morty that we're following, it's the start of Evil Morty. This is a distinct Morty from the previous 4 seasons.
I know, but
yeah, but you know,
they're all fucking saying that. Screen Rant does that all the time. If it, not to insult Screen Rant, but they're like, what does this character farting really mean for the MCU? Like what? They just it's literally the definition of making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
go on. Have you got some CRQs or anything like that?
Yes. I really like how they sort of touch upon the idea of like popular people or a group of people sort of using people who are less cool on the social hierarchy to sort of be sycophantic, because I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but I've certainly experienced that when I was at high school. You would get people who were just quite uninteresting and but for some reason everyone was very, very interested in their lives, but it's that sort of hierarchical thing that you find in all of life. There are just people who are so interesting, but really they're not. They're quite reserved and they're quite vapid, and it's kind of amazing how we pay much attention to them.
And I get that, like, you're talking about the B story with whoever the fucking guy is that they drive around the universe. Do you think that also applies to the sort of masochist guys?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that they need to explain everything, as if they don't have faith in their own sort of masochism, is kind of funny. It's like, my pain. I feel pain, which means I feel pleasure. As if you've forgotten the very basic idea. So I think it's everyone loves the idea of being really fucking interesting, but I don't think we all are interesting. I just think I think we're all quite boring as a species.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think as a concept, people are very interesting, and I think lots of people have different opinions on different things, which I think means that everybody's interesting to somebody.
Yeah, but we could be a bit more humble about it. You have skin hooks. Jesus Christ, okay, we get it. It's not that great. It's kind of weird, and just sort of sitting in silence and going, yeah, red, and just creating this weird wave of sycophancy. But then again, they do say, yeah, that's on us, because we're just so insecure with ourselves that we project our insecurities onto someone else, which is, an interesting way to look at it as well. But I really felt for Jerry in this episode.
Yeah, me too, because he's sort of starting to realise the role he plays in this family is sort of a dual role of lightning rod for all of the fury and hatred.
Yeah.
But it's also he's just kind of shit. He's sort of starting to realise his own inherent shitness.
Yeah.
It's strange, because I don't know if we'd ever see Jerry actually changing himself, or bettering himself, or going out of his way to sort of, I'm going to learn a language, I'm going to try and become a more interesting person, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, normally there's something colossally stupid and cowardly that Jerry does to make you go, oh, for fuck's sake. But in this episode, he literally does nothing wrong, I would say. Maybe it's a bit cringy, but it's what a horrible sort of idea that a group of sadomasochists someone actually came up with that idea that we're gonna get a group of sadomasochists in, and they're gonna get pleasure from Jerry's cringy lines, and it's all because Rick sold them faulty skin hooks. That's just so horrible. And I'm sure we've all experienced that at some point, people sort of having you around because maybe you're funny in a sort of embarrassing way. I think that's relatable, but it just felt really cruel.
Yeah, no, it does feel really cruel. But then I think that's sort of, in a lot of ways, that's kind of Jerry's sort of position in the narrative, is that he's a dull guy.
Yeah, but yeah, but I mean the fact that the fact that Beth gets in on it as well, which made it even worse.
True, and she says, "No, I'm making fun of my lame husband or whatever." Yeah, she's very aware of the fact that her husband is kind of dull.
Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, this is just a part of life.
yeah, and then says at the end, "It's fine because I can make it up to him through sexual gratification." Like, what the fuck? That is, oh, that makes me feel sick. Someone saying that. It's weird how only episodes where really human things happen makes me think, wow, these people are really fucking terrible. You know, like Rick can kill an entire planet or something like that, and like you're not phased because of how, you know, utterly.
Because you have no point of reference.
Yeah, exactly. But stuff like this makes me realise, wow, Beth, Rick, and Jerry are all terrible people in their own ways, and it's like kind of sad, and the joke is ultimately on all of them rather than just you know, because we think it's just on Jerry, and Rick is such an arsehole that he thinks that he's so cool that no one would ever do that to him, and then he gets a taste of it at the end, which makes me. That's why I think it's like an episode of Family Guy, because a lot of the jokes in Family Guy are on the Griffins, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I do know what you mean. I think the point I'm struggling with this episode is like I understand the theme and I understand what it's going for. It's not. I feel like there's something missing to some degree. Like a lot of other episodes of Rick and Morty, I was sort of laugh out loud funny, and I felt like I learned something, or they were just sad. But like sad in the Edgar Allan Poe way, where it's sad, but it's kind of a nice sad, and it's kind of there's a purpose to that sadness.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah, kind of. But like, I think that I struggle with this episode because I can't quite see through it to the point of getting it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really struggling with this one.
Well, I mean, Rick sort of says that he loves Jerry by the end of the episode, like.
That's true, yeah.
But like, it's hard to sort of keep track of like the character development, because I don't know, like, if the characters are developing in that way.
Because there's no way to know it's the same character.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that the point of the show in a lot of ways is, oh, well, nothing really matters. But then, surely, if you're going into it with a nothing really matters attitude, then you have to go down a journey of nothing really matters, but, you know, this family, they do have love for one another. Or even if you say, but this family, they have like a weird symbiotic relationship with one another. Yeah. And Rick and Jerry kind of hate each other, but they have to be there for one another. That's an interesting story to tell. But if your out and out point that you're saying is nothing really matters, and then you deliver on that by making a show where nothing happens of any consequence ever, it's just not worth watching. Do you know what I mean? I can't help but feel that because I'm not watching anybody develop, I'm not watching anything interesting happen, I'm just watching people do things, it feels almost like a merchandising opportunity. Like how they made the Transformers films just to sell Transformers.
Yeah, true.
That's what it feels like. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look, normally we get like some like actual story development in like the second half of the season, but like the first half has always been sort of like filler episodes, you know, which, you know, I guess is, I mean, that's sort of par for the course for like most TV shows. There's like always a degree of like fillerness at the start of the season, and then things really fucking heat up. But like, you take a show like Breaking Bad, the story is still developing, even in the early seasons, like, and characters are changing and stuff like that. Whereas like, I think this show is trying to have an anthology
have
feel.
Its cake and eat it,
Yeah, an anthology feel about it, but also a cool story as well, which makes it more difficult to sort of, you know, care, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's you're right. It is trying to have the anthology feel of a different weird thing happens every episode, and also have the overlying story of, oh, what if Rick becomes a more mellow person? What if Jerry learns his place in the family? What if, etc., etc., etc. But I feel like it just isn't big enough to have both of those things. I feel like I just can't fit all of that sort of stuff into one episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much of like what is essentially just an animated show. But I don't know, it felt like it was delivering so much for so long, and now it's just not quite doing that.
No, I agree with you. Why can't the car just turn into like a transformer? Like, I would imagine that, like, because Rick likes those Voltron machines.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't, like, I would imagine that Rick would have the car have the ability to do that. Like, why can't or can't the car just do that? Like, I don't get.
That's a good point. Yeah, because the car is kind of an ex machina, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it just kind of does stuff. So I suppose it could have done if they wanted it to, but as a narrative device, I suppose it's funnier to have the car not be a transformer.
Yeah. Like,
and it's interesting to watch the car be rejected and struggle to deal with that.
Yeah, it is, and it's like it's very similar to like Morty and Summer's situation, where they're like both, even though they're both like they've done more in one lifetime than we would ever hope to. Like, they've seen such wonders, they're still capable of like coming across like a couple of weirdos because they're so desperate for approval from this guy. A guy that they barely know. Like, I mean, Summer has like watched 3 planets die the episode before, and like was in massive alien orgies. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like, and Morty has seen countless people die, and yet he's like, have some grapes. Like, you know, it's like, it's really, it's really. That's why it's like, I think it really throws you off when it becomes really human. Because they're just so used to like having, whoa, what does this mean? Oh my god, that is such a weird thought experiment. What is Darius saying?
They called them change formers. Could they not think of something more creative?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Let's think of a better name for them.
Okay. Did you ever have Transformer snacks when you were younger?
No.
They were like a 20p bag of like just really crap. They're like Monster Munch knockoffs, basically. But the bag had like imagine a capital T.
Yeah.
But like with the cross bit on both ends, and then alongside those little crisps in the bag, it also had little hoops. And the idea was you could put the little hoops
I remember them
on the T's, and then you'd make little cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only had them once or twice. They tasted really weird.
Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, they
them
were quite good.
Yeah. Changeformer snacks. Changeformer. That is a shit name.
Changeformer is a bit of a crap name. Metamorphotrons.
Oh,
that's good. Do we like that?
Well,
you can still buy them.
I'm glad
I imagine you can.
I'm glad you think so, Lewis. That's good.
Fuck off.
We'll go with that. I don't know. Alteratrons.
Yeah, that does make me think of Altair from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Who like
Just
everyone?
One of them is in the background in like a cloak.
Yeah,
got one of his fingers missing on each hand.
That game where like everyone has like a sort of Middle Eastern accent, and he just has this weird generic American one. Like,
that was quite strange, actually. Yeah, I remember playing the game and thinking, okay, well, it is in the Middle East, so it makes sense for all these people to have Middle Eastern accents. But why is the main character American?
Yeah.
But I suppose if you are an American and you're projecting yourself back in time via DNA, or whatever, however the fuck Assassin's Creed works.
What's the machine called?
The Terminus? Animus.
Animus,
That's
like Latin for mind, I think.
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Animus in... Here's a hot take. It pisses me off when people just take a Latin word and use it as a name for something as if that's clever. Like, as in, it worked for a bit, but now I've gotten tired of it. Like, it annoys me that the one place it really, really annoys me is in Harry Potter, because they say things like, what could the spell levicorpus do? It levies your corpus. It lifts your body. What else could it... Learn Latin. Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, it annoys me.
Well, I do that quite a lot.
I see.
It's a it's an old habit from my days in Catholicism. You know, they use Latin like it's fucking going out of fashion. Like, Jesus Christ. Literally, you know, they say Latin phrases are like the fucking, you know, that's like you know how you get like people used to quote vines all the time, like the same vines over and over.
Yeah.
In the Catholic Church, it's just Latin phrases over and over again, and it fucking, you know, it blows their little socks off. I tell you that.
It's just Issachus Wednesdayus, my dude.
Whoa! Eat your stale bread and your non-alcoholic wine.
Oh, that always reminds me of I think it was this old tweet, or it was like a Tumblr text post or something, of where it was this one Catholic church where they held mass with like the bread and the wine and all the rest of it. But it was like a thing they did in the village where one of the congregants would bake a loaf of bread and they'd take it and cut it up, and that would be the host.
Yeah.
And one week somebody made like raisin and cinnamon bread. So the preacher at the front had to stand up and say, "This bread, but not the raisins, just the bread, is the body of Christ." It just tickled me.
Just ignore the raisins.
Ignore the raisins.
Eat around
They're
them.
just raisins.
Yeah.
It's the body of Christ and also the raisins.
Wow, you cooked the body of Christ in raisins. Like what?
Oh God.
Darius says the only Latin he knows is Magna Carta.
Cool.
What does that mean?
I've no fucking clue. It was an old thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
King
the
John
law,
or
isn't
something?
it? Or like,
Yeah, to give the people more power against what's it? Oh, I don't, Magna Carta Libertatum, Great Charter. I suppose that makes sense. What does it do? It was a royal charter of rights agreed to by King John of England near Runnymede in 1215, drafted by an archbishop to make peace between the unpopular king and a group of rebel barons, the protection of church rights, protection of barons from illegal imprisonment, access to swift justice, and limitations on feudal payments to the crown. All right, then.
wow. I mean,
Sorry, the next sentence on Wikipedia is, neither side stood behind their commitments.
Oh.
Well, then it's a pointless document, isn't it, surely?
Yeah, like it's referenced so much, and yet it's like, yeah, they didn't
Neither
bother.
of them did it. Oh, and the charter was annulled by Pope Innocent III.
Pope
Cool,
Innocent.
well then,
What?
Pope Innocent III, yeah.
That sounds like a fucking like a bad joke. Like, yeah, Pope Innocent presided over it, and both parties decided to fuck the other one over.
Anyway, Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
God's not real, son. I've got to rip that band-aid right off.
this cannot be how sadomasochism works. Like, if I was a sadomasochist, I wouldn't like routinely keep telling people that I feel pain after getting hit in the face or something like that.
Maybe if
like,
you had like an exhibitionist streak in you, you were like, I love getting beaten up. That gives me sexual thrills.
yeah,
But also, I need everybody else to know about it. So you're like, yes, hit me again. Oh, that feels really good. And you're like, yeah, maybe. You're like doing it in the middle of the town. It's like, yeah, fucking punch me in the face.
Is it not in
I don't know.
is it not in the context though of like sex? Like, it can't just be you're walking and you stub your toe and you're like, oh yeah. Like,
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I imagine it is more of a contextual thrill.
yeah,
Although perhaps there are some people out there with very specific fantasies of just like,
maybe.
in the day-to-day, of just like, oh, I just want like a really beautiful woman to come up and smack me. Can we arrange for that, please?
Yeah, but
I
like,
don't know, maybe.
you know, if I saw like two people like, having sex in public, I wouldn't like go, oh, it's amazing. I'd be like, what the fuck? It's like, you know, it's the context that adds to it, you know, rather
That's
than
true.
rather than
True.
just any pain ever. Is like, oh fuck. And why?
You know what I want to know?
What?
How did Rick get the marlin through his chest?
True.
How did that not kill him?
I mean,
because
he's like
come on now.
cybernetics, so that he could probably like move his chest, you know.
True. Maybe the marlin's always there. It's just invisible.
Yeah, true.
And
Maybe.
he's only turned off the invisibility switch for this episode.
Yeah, or maybe it's like, I'm trying to think of a really weirder explanation that doesn't, you know, succumb to the laws of physics. So I might just leave it.
Maybe that's his kidney. That is his kidney.
Yeah.
And yeah, because of all the drinking he does, is it your liver, your kidney, whatever?
I think it's your
one of
liver.
them. Your liver. That's his liver, and because of all the drinking he does, it's turned into a fish.
Yeah, it's
I
mutated.
think we've nailed that one, Dan.
It's mutated into a marlin that occasionally takes over the stomach region and
Yep.
actually leaves the body for
It's just convenient that it happened during this adventure.
yeah.
It's like, oh well, quick, I'd better get this BDSM gear to fit around my Marlin.
Yeah, I love that sounds like a euphemism. I love how like the most oddball, brainless shit is the stuff that we focus in on, like a laser beam. Like we're just like, yeah, I bet the Marlin is his liver, and
I think I mean, the trouble with Rick and Morty is when there's not like when Rick doesn't end the episode by nearly killing himself. The show feels a bit flat, like
yeah,
because if there's no deep sadness, because that's his Lewis Brindley and his bizarre opinions about like cosmic horror. I think the show's cosmic horror, it sort of dwells on the fact that cosmic horror doesn't have to be sort of a wet terror. It has to be sort of a dry sort of, oh well, then now everything is pointless and I'm just depressed.
yeah.
That's the kind of thing that it dwells on. And when it doesn't do that, it's just kind of, oh yeah, embrace this cosmic absurdism. So, okay, yeah, I will do, but
Maybe you're a sadomasochist, Lewis, for liking cosmic horror.
maybe I am.
You enjoy sort of the utter hopeless realization that we are nothing in the universe at large.
Maybe that's the case.
That gets me.
That gets me going.
Yeah, that pumps my blood. I tell you.
I remember reading this old I don't know whether it was a study or a theory or just some guy that said this. So take this with a big old fistful of salt. But I think read this thing about how the reason people like horror movies was they kind of get addicted to the adrenaline of afterwards.
Yeah.
They get addicted to, like, afterwards you're out of the cinema and you're like, oh, well, it's a good job I actually survived that guy with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Even though, of course, he did not exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that's the thing I'm addicted to, is coming back to real life and being like, okay, well, nothing really matters. But I do have a cat and a wife and a house, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a degree of sort of human beings liking what they dislike, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. People that complain about things actually don't want to not complain about things anymore.
Yeah, well, there's something, I suppose, if you fall into the pattern of complaining about something, it becomes a comfortable habit, doesn't it? If it's just like, it's easy to go and stand in line for something and then complain about having to stand in line.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a comfortable behaviour pattern that you can easily sort of fall into.
Yeah, I mean, well, I suppose in that, there's if we're going into sort of sexual sort of ways of enjoying it, there's the whole cucking thing. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I'm aware of the philosophy of cuckoldry.
Yeah, where your partner or whoever is with someone else and you're there sort of experiencing it. So I mean, maybe human beings are just we like what we hate, or maybe
I think it might be a bit more complex. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know, but
maybe
yeah.
I'm trying to simplify it a little bit too much. But I think there's if the consequences of it are sort of limited, I think there's a sort of temptation to just experience it. Because
I suppose
you know that you're not going to get killed by this guy with a chainsaw, so it's like it's fun to sort of
to have
experience
the
it
experiences and
without
to
the
live life.
yeah,
and
without the consequences. But
yeah, I suppose maybe that's sort of a real life version of your main character in your play, book, TV show, whatever, goes through some struggles and then becomes a richer character for the experience.
yeah,
I suppose it's kind of the real life version of that. It's like, oh yeah, I watched Saw and now I'm a richer person for the experience.
Yeah. Like, why did we watch Walter White poison kids and create a meth empire on the backs of bodies? Like, I mean, there must be a sort of there was definitely a sort of cathartic thrill to Breaking Bad when I first watched it, even though I knew that Walt was a horrible person. I was just like, yeah, go for it, like that. It's like, I think it's
yeah, you big fuck, yeah.
It's the for me anyway. It's trying to enjoy thrilling aspects of life without actually doing that, because that shit's fucking scary if you ever did that in real life. I suppose it's
I suppose that's kind of the whole. It's why games like GTA exist, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose it is escapism. Yeah, it's if you can sort of fully immerse yourself into something and live an alternative thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point. And on that note, have you got a closing statement or any final CRQs or anything?
I do, yes. Pain is pleasure. Ooh. There you go.
Yep. My closing statement is: I hope the next episode is better than this. I'm thirsting for sort of an episode of Rick and Morty that makes me question myself.
Do you know?
I'm thirsting for a good episode of Rick and Morty. You know?
Do you know what I've just realised?
What's that?
Maybe the sadomasochist people are the fans of the show.
Maybe.
Because we're like, oh my god, I want one where Rick is like going to kill himself, and like it's really sad and depressing, and I want to, like, maybe that's what they're trying to say. Because we like so obviously state the most obvious stuff about the show. Oh, see, Rick's a bad parent, and he's a bad guy, and it's really sad. And they're there in the show going, oh, pain is pleasure. Oh, they just saying the most obvious shit. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's like at the start of season 4 where they had like a fascist Morty, and that was meant to be like a fan who was like, you're too political, just have fun, I want to see Mr. Meeseeks. Like, you know, it's like it was a sort of riff on the toxic fandom, you know.
I get it, but I'm not sure if I agree. Yeah, kind of. I know I do get what you're going for. I think that when I say I want a depressing episode of Rick and Morty, it's like, I think there's a nice. I don't want to say there's something nice about being depressed, because that's an oxymoron. But like, well, yeah. But like, I think there's something. I'm not actually looking to become depressed.
No.
I'm looking to be interested by a TV show and have it ask me interesting questions. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. I'm being a bit of a dick, but that's my bread and butter. Do you have a closing statement, or did you say
I
yours?
have done mine, yes. I hope next
Excellent.
episode is good.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Rick and Morty's Thanksploitation Spectacular. Good
So
stuff.
is that going to be a Thanksgiving episode then?
I've got no idea. There's the thumbnail that I can see here is Morty firing a laser at the Constitution. So
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
so
Lovely.
that's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a brief synopsis to tease you, to whet your whistle?
Yeah, go on.
In this Thanksgiving episode, Rick and Morty need to get a presidential pardon.
Oh, it's so sad and depressing. I love it.
The president's in it.
Oh,
Hooray.
excellent.
I love the president. He's great.
Keith David, man. What a fucking gem.
Rick Sanchez, get your ass in here.
What? They're dead? Do people die when I name them?
Oh, that's so good. It's
yeah.
just... Oh. Anyway, right, come on. Let's do
shilling.
a thing. Yeah, chill. Quick. Quick.
We all have Linktrees. Lewis Linktree is linktr.ee/Lewis_blindly.
Come on, speed up, come on.
Mine's is podcast / shout at the void. Then find the socials, YouTube, Instagram, and all that shit. PayPal donate button in. You can spare it at all. Would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to slow down because these people actually pay us. We also have Patreon, and we want to take the opportunity, as we do every week, to thank our... Oh shit! Someone's at the door.
Oh, exciting.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
Don't edit this out. This is all part of the fun. Woo!
It's all part of the show.
I'm fucking depressed. Woo!
I'm not editing this out, listeners. It's my turn to edit this week. I'm actually looking at, thinking about what I might have for lunch today. What have I got in? Not a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm logging into Uber Eats to try and see if I can get some food or something. I don't know. What do you think, folks? What's the public opinion? What I really want is a burrito, but the burrito place, I don't think they're open till like quite late, so I'd have to wait to have lunch till like 4 p.m, which would be, it's like a whole thing, isn't it? I wonder who's at Danny's door.
For me.
Oh, there he is. Who was at your door, Dan?
It was a parcel for me.
Oh, lovely stuff. What is it?
It's a letter and a parcel.
Ooh.
And a parcel
Ooh.
says, "Don't ever not be sad." So
Brilliant. Yep.
we also have Patreon. And we want to thank our wonderful patrons, Chloe,
Thank you.
Darius,
Thank you.
Peter,
Thank you.
Aditya,
Thank you.
Richard,
Thank you.
Natalie,
Thank you.
and Doogie.
Thank you, one and all. You do mean the world to us, and all the support that you offer really does mean the world. We do a lot of fucking about on the show. I don't know if you've noticed, but the one of the things that we really do value is your support, because it really does mean that, like, it really does mean that we can carry on making this show that we absolutely love to make.
Yeah.
And this genuinely is a bit of a peek behind the curtain. This is the only bit of the show we actively try to get right, because you do mean a lot to us, and we do want to show that we are very thankful for your support. So thank you very much, one and all.
Absolutely. I'm so unfit. We also have merch on I'm gonna go fast again. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble, tote bags and all that shit. Tacky fuck, and then you get that, and it's great. Waste of money. And last but not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed, Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which they are crocheting their little hearts out. I'm trying to think of what I normally say. Yeah, if you want something to bless your Instagram feed with beautiful content, go and check out the Instagram. Give it a cheeky follow. It's at Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram. Take a look. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Whew!
Yeah.
That's me done my daily exercise. Run to the door to buy my consumer products. That was Rick and Morty.
Indeed it was, yes. We'll join you next week to destroy the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution or whatever the hell happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you then for the death of America. That's a joke.
Oh,
FBI,
Jesus Christ.
fucking hell. I mean, calm down.
What's that? Yeah, sorry, go on, carry on.
Yeah, we shall see you, hear you, smell you, sell you faulty skin hooks next time.
Indeed we will. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.